Hello, Rob here from the Flanagan Homestead. The rains came down and I had all my firewood uncovered. I planned to put a more permanent structure up there, but I had to get some tarps on it. And so it reminded me of one of the things, probably the most valuable thing I learned in middle school, and that was in outdoor education class. Yes, we had outdoor education class in here. So I want to talk about what I learned, but then I got a good story I'll add at the end of the video about our outdoor education class. But anyway, the two classes that I most benefited from in school, I believe, were outdoor ed and woodshop. They've added great value to my life. But anyway, one of the things that Mr. Tarsi and Dave Tarsi, if you're out there and ever see this, thank you so much for that class. It was amazing. One of the things we learned is how to tie a tarp that doesn't have grommets on it, and so it won't tear and strip out. And so it's a real simple concept. So I have visqueen right here. It doesn't matter if it's a woven tarp or whatnot, but any tarp that you want to tie on and not tear out, and as a matter of fact, these are a lot stronger than using the grommets. I've had some real strong pulls on these and not pull apart, but I just picked up a rock off the ground. About this size will do. This one's nice and rounded, so it won't tear through it. But you very simply put the rock on the tarp and then squeeze around it so that you have a little bulb there. I'd go around this sucker twice, tie this off, get a little extra string out here, tie this off nice and tight, and then you can pull. I mean, you can pull really hard on this. My knot started to slip, but the visqueen is not tearing. I'm giving this a good, I pull my bow at 70 pounds. This is more than 70 pounds pressure. So anyway, when I taught my boys this a couple years ago, they wanted to go make a structure out in the woods when they're and their buddies were going up in the woods, and they had a huge tarp. And we have golf balls laying around all over the place. Golf balls are perfect to stick in there, nice and round, and they're about the right size. And they tied these in different corners on the edges and had a tarp just spread over half the mountainside, keeping everybody dry. But anyway, there's nothing real fancy to it. Stick a rock in there, a pine cone, whatever. The pine cone would work too. Stick it in there, pull it over, wrap the rope around twice, tie it on there, and this sucker is not going to pull off. And it's much stronger than the grommets that come on the tarps that are already there. Also, another thing, if you're going to leave a tarp for a long time and wind and whatnot is going to pull on it, if you're going to tie it off somewhere, if you put a loop on here and then put it, whether it's to a tree or a weight or a stake, and put a bungee cord on this, then when the wind pulls over time, you know, it just keeps going. There's a little bit of give, and so the tarp can handle it a lot better. So a bungee cord adds extra ability to handle the elements, the weight, the shock of being hit by the wind, and the constant pushing and pulling. Okay, as I already mentioned, outdoor ed class, best class ever. They took us on a 3-day backpacking trip up in the hills outside in Oregon. Actually, we went up Eagle Creek Trail, the top of it. We started at Wadham Lake and then we came down Eagle Creek Trail. Beautiful hike, 14 miles, a lot of big cliffs. I'm surprised that they took a bunch of middle school kids up there, but we had a great time. But the first night was at Wadham Lake, way up high, highest elevation point. They dropped us off, and people were telling me, hey, there's crawdads that come out at night. They come out from underneath the rocks. And I thought, oh, this is a snipe hunt. You know, they're just telling me a story. You know, the snipe hunt, you go hunting for snipe and there's no such thing. And he said, they're just sending me out there, or sending us kids out there to do it. And it was really cold, but I thought, I'll give it a try. So I just went out to about my knees, and sure enough, after it got dark, there was crawdads coming out from underneath the rocks. And so I'm going, okay. So nobody else was coming out there because it was too cold. And I'm wandering around out there for a long time, just getting buckets of crawdads that were coming out and taking them back to the fire, and everybody else was boiling them, eating them. And when I came back, my hands were so cold I couldn't break a crawdad open to eat them. And so fortunately my teacher was cutting some open and feeding them to me, because I was the one that went and got them all out. But anyway, we went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, and the lake was froze over. Because it was getting that cold that night. No wonder nobody else wanted to go in. But I learned how to crawdad then. I thought it was just a joke, but it turns out to be fun. Later in life, my wife and I went hiking, backpacking up to Burnt Lake near Mount Hood, and I've never seen a lake with so many crawdads. We waited till an hour after dark, went and shone a flashlight. I didn't even wade in, and I was shining my flashlight on the ground, and probably everywhere I shone the light, there was probably 5 crawdads right there. They just come up out in the open. As soon as nightfall came, they were out from underneath the rocks, just everywhere. So if you're ever hitting a mountain lake, I don't know if this is how it is everywhere. I haven't traveled and backpacked much of other than the Pacific Northwest, but if you're in a mountain lake that you might have crawdads, and wait till an hour after dark, grab a flashlight, wade out in the water, and there's a good chance that there's just going to be crawdads out in the open everywhere. You can just reach down, start grabbing them, have them for dinner. Well, thanks for joining me once again on the Flanagan Homestead, where I got to talk to you about the best class ever in middle school, outdoor education class, and share one of the things that I learned in that class and how to tie a tarp and not have it tear off. So thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching, including horticulture, is my job, and outdoor projects are my passion. Hope to see you again soon. Be blessed, everyone.